"We need space," she said. I took it, hacked and crossed the border. When she finally called back, another woman picked up. She never recovered from that. The phone rang at 2:17 a.m. Not mine, hers. It vibrated softly on the nightstand between us. A quiet insect trapped inside glass. I was awake already. I'd been awake for a long time. She was asleep beside me, breathing slowly. One arm across my chest, like she still owned the space above my heart. The screen lit up. A name appeared. No contact photo. No saved nickname. Just a number. But I recognized the country code. My eyes stayed on the glowing screen while it buzzed again. And again. And again. 3 calls. Then silence. A message appeared. She stirred beside me. Her fingers reached lazily toward the phone, but I moved first. Not fast. Just enough. I turned the screen away. She blinked at me, half awake. "Who was it?" she whispered. I watched her face carefully. Tiny muscles around her eyes. The way her lips tightened before relaxing again. "Wrong number," I said. She studied me for half a second longer than necessary. Then she smiled. Soft, warm, perfect. Too perfect. She rolled over and pulled the blanket up to her shoulder. "Good," she murmured. "Because I really need some space right now." Space. The word floated in the dark between us. I stared at the ceiling. My chest felt strangely calm. Not hurt, not angry, just quiet, like the moment right before a building collapses. And that's when I realized something. The message notification was still glowing on the screen. Unread. I didn't open it. Not yet, because deep down, something colder than pain whispered inside me. If I read it now, everything would end tonight. And I wasn't ready for the ending. Not yet. She started using the word space a lot after that night. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to find herself. I watched it happen slowly, like mold spreading across a wall. First came the late nights. Then the locked phone. Then the quiet smiles at texts she never showed me. She said it wasn't about another man. She said she was just confused. I nodded. Listened. Played the part perfectly. Because something inside me had already shifted. The version of me that would have panicked. That man was gone. In his place stood someone colder, more patient. One night she sat across from me at the kitchen table. Her fingers wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. "I think I should stay with my sister for a while," she said softly. The words were rehearsed. Carefully chosen. Space again. I leaned back in my chair, studying her. Every twitch, every breath. "How long?" I asked. She shrugged. "I don't know." "Of course you don't. Because lies rarely come with timelines." She reached across the table, tried to touch my hand. "I still care about you," she whispered. I almost smiled. Care, such a fragile word. The phone on the table buzzed. She flipped it over immediately. Too quickly, but not quickly enough. The screen flashed for a fraction of a second. A message preview. Just 5 words. Did he suspect anything yet? She grabbed the phone and stood up. I should pack. I watched her walk down the hallway. Slow, deliberate, controlled. Inside my chest, something settled into place. A quiet certainty. This wasn't confusion. It wasn't distance. It wasn't space. It was replacement. And suddenly I understood something else. She thought she was leaving me. But the truth was much simpler. She had already left. The apartment felt different after she moved out. Not emptier, just quieter, like a theater after the audience leaves. I didn't call her. Didn't text. Didn't beg. That was important. Because desperate men ruin good investigations. Instead, I started watching. Patterns, details. The things people overlook when they think they're winning. The phone records were easy. Shared account. Same password. 3 numbers appeared again and again. One belonged to her sister. One belonged to her job. And the third, a number with that same foreign country code. Calls lasting hours. Mostly after midnight. Interesting. I wrote it down. Then I checked travel history. Credit card purchases. Hotel reservations. Flight searches. Small breadcrumbs scattered across months. A quiet trail. She hadn't been looking for space. She'd been planning distance. One evening she called me. Her voice sounded lighter, like someone already living a different life. "I think we should take a break," she said. A break? I leaned against the window watching traffic move below. "Okay," I said. She hesitated, probably expecting resistance, pain, something emotional. Instead, she got silence. "Are you okay with that?" I looked at the city lights. "Of course." Another pause. People hate calm reactions. They feel like traps. Thank you, she said finally. The line clicked. I ended the call and looked back at the number in my notebook. The foreign one. Curiosity pushed me one step further. A reverse lookup, a location, and suddenly the puzzle shifted. Because the number didn't belong to a man, it belonged to a woman. That surprised me, but not for long. Betrayal rarely respects expectations. For the next 2 weeks, I prepared quietly, sold a few things, closed accounts, packed a suitcase, and then I did something simple, something she would never expect. I booked a flight to the country tied to that number, because if someone asks for space, the most interesting thing you can do is give it to them completely. Crossing the border felt strangely peaceful. No drama, no goodbye speeches, just a quiet departure. I rented a small apartment in the same city connected to that mysterious number. It didn't take long to find the address. People are careless with digital footprints, social media tags, shared photos, background landmarks. Eventually, the truth revealed itself. A café, a woman, and my wife sitting across from her, holding her hand, laughing the way she used to laugh with me. The sight didn't hurt as much as I expected. Instead, something colder settled inside my chest. Clarity. They were planning something. I watched them for days. Patterns again. Routine. Then one night my phone rang. Her name appeared on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hi," she said softly. Her voice carried guilt now. "Hey." A long pause. "I've been thinking," she continued. "About us." I sat on the balcony overlooking the foreign city. "Have you?" "Yes." Another pause. "I miss you." The lie floated gently through the air. I leaned back in my chair. "You needed space," I reminded her. "I did," she whispered. "But I think I'm ready to come home." I stared at the skyline, neon lights blinking in the distance. Then I said something simple. "Call me tomorrow." "Okay." She sounded relieved, hopeful. The call ended. I placed the phone on the table and waited. The next evening, the phone rang exactly when I expected. Her name again. I didn't answer. Not immediately. Instead, I walked across the apartment to the kitchen, where someone else stood leaning against the counter, watching me with curious eyes. The woman from the cafe, the one she thought was her secret. She had agreed to something simple, an experiment. Truth is fascinating when two betrayers realize they've both been deceived. The phone kept ringing. I finally picked it up, but I didn't speak. I handed the phone to the woman beside me. She raised an eyebrow, then answered. "Hello?" Silence exploded on the other end. I could almost hear my wife's brain trying to process what just happened. "Who is this?" she asked slowly. The woman smiled faintly. "My name?" she said calmly. "It's the woman your husband moved in with." I leaned against the wall, watching the moment unfold. Breathing slowly. Controlled. The phone trembled in her hand. On the other end came a broken whisper. What? The woman looked at me. I nodded once. She continued. "He said you needed space." Another pause. Heavy. Devastating. So he came here. The silence that followed was beautiful. A collapsing world. A shattered illusion. Finally, my wife spoke again. But her voice was different now. Small. Confused. Panicked. I put him on the phone. The woman handed it back to me. I placed it to my ear, but I didn't say hello. I just listened to her breathing. Fast. Shallow. You crossed the border?" she asked. "Yes." "Why?" I smiled slightly, because the answer was obvious. "You asked for space." And then I hung up. The city lights outside the window flickered like distant signals. The woman in the kitchen poured herself a drink. Neither of us spoke for a while. Some silences deserve respect. Eventually, she looked at me. "You're not angry?" she asked. I considered the question carefully. Anger is loud, messy, predictable. What I felt now was something else, something quieter. "I said. "Once." She nodded slowly, understanding. Across the ocean, my wife was probably still staring at her phone, trying to rebuild a reality that had just collapsed, trying to figure out when she lost control. But the truth was simple. She lost it the moment she asked for space. Because space has a strange property. When someone steps far enough away, they stop belonging to you. I walked out onto the balcony and looked over the sleeping city. The air felt different here. Cleaner, lighter. Behind me, the woman turned off the lights. Darkness settled across the apartment. and for the first time in months, my mind felt quiet. No betrayal, no confusion, just distance, real distance, the kind you can't cross again. My phone buzzed once more on the table behind me. Another call, her name glowing in the dark. I didn't answer. I didn't even turn around, because some conversations end the moment truth speaks, and some people never recover from hearing it.